If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
I think Brady's going to take Jimmy G's job.
We ain't going nowhere. Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. Neither one's going anywhere. No one's going anywhere.
And on the seventh day, he rose.
Tom Brady's return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tom Brady stole the show on Selection Sunday.
I think that Jimmy G is going to have to pick up his stuff and move down to Tampa. And nothing against Tampa, but he was going to have to move anyway, I guess. Tampa's not terrible, I suppose. Nothing against the third best city in the state of Florida. But Jimmy G's the biggest loser. I mean, it's tough. That Brady, I think, is going to end up a Niner. He's going to take that job, and it's going to look bad because I think the Niners will instantly be Super Bowl favorites and prohibitive favorites to come out of the NFC. And I understand they got to a Super Bowl, Jimmy G, and they got to an NFC Championship game last year. But I think it's the final twist of the knife for poor Jimmy G.
If a quarterback retires, but he doesn't miss any regular season playoff or preseason games or any practices, did he really retire? Was he ever really gone?
Well, Max, remember I said he never signed the papers and turned them in, even though they don't do signed papers anymore, but he never, officially retired.
Kevin Wildes called it. He knows his papers, apparently. 40 days later, Brady's back to being a Buck.
And I heard Steve Young talk about this earlier on SVP, and he was so accurate, where it was just more along the lines of, when you retire, typically you retire from some kind of injury or something where you can't do it physically. It's rare that, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's rare that you see people retire absolutely on top. Still can go, still feel like they have a lot left in the tank. And for Tom, for all the statistical categories he led the league in last year, being second in MVP voting, that's tough to walk away from.
He led the league in attempts,
everything,
yards, and touchdowns.
First on the Patrick Mahomes thing, he has to be, I shouldn't say he has to, but this does give him another chance to beat Brady. Brady's gotten the best of him at an older age. So, yes, this gives him a chance for that.
Yep.
By the way, having just played the Super Bowl and won, so he played more football than anyone else. He's the oldest player. He's 44 years old. Did all those things in the first 17-game season ever.
How about Aaron Rodgers? Okay, again, we talked last week about how, when you talk about most of the great quarterbacks are in the AFC now. Oh, how smart Rodgers was to stay in the NFC. You got Dallas, which is full of dysfunction. You got the Rams, who are trying to, repeat as getting back to the Super Bowl. You got San Francisco with a young Trey Lance at quarterback. Arizona's got issues with Kyler Murray. Russell Wilson jetted to the AFC. It was wide open for Aaron Rodgers to win the NFC and get back to the Super Bowl. And now you have to deal with your nemesis. And I'm saying it. He is Aaron Rodgers' nemesis because while Rodgers can say, I'm more athletic, I throw the football better, and everybody else says that as well, Brady is the better quarterback, period. Brady has the intangibles that Aaron Rodgers doesn't. Brady, while not as gifted as Rodgers, has dominated the Rodgers era. Okay, and now he comes back. He's 3-1 against Rodgers. Rodgers only beaten him that one time. That was 8 years ago, back in 2014. And so, Aaron Rodgers, Nick, in my view, is definitely the biggest loser. And I think mentally, I don't think Rodgers isn't mentally strong, but I do think you can get in his head, and I think Brady is in his head. And now it's like, man, I got to go through this obstacle again. So Rodgers is the biggest loser.
When you listen to Tom on Man the Arena podcast or interviews that he does, we were joking one time, Max. I'm like, how many times can my man say he has to play golf? Where he's like, I'm gonna play some golf today, then have some meetings, come back with the family. Then
he started going over the details of his day, and it was like, I got. It was like Will Ferrell in Old School. I got some paperwork to fill out.
Beyond. I got a busy day.
Whatever team Brady's on next year, I think we can all assume he's going to be way underpaid by choice. I think there's a chance he takes even less, reworks his deal Wildes to take even less to help whichever team he's on compete. And I think that's going to look tough for Aaron Rodgers. If the Packers are in a staring contest with Devontae Adams, ostensibly because they don't have the money, and Rodgers sitting there as the highest paid player in league history, while the Bucks or whomever Brady's playing for is reloading. I think the dichotomy of that's a bad look for Aaron Rodgers if Brady takes even less money, which I think is a real possibility.
Whenever I heard Brady talk about it since the initial announcement, I never thought he was gone. I thought there was a good chance he'd play week 1, right? I never heard him say, it's one thing to say, I'm missing it with my family. The kids are there. I'm missing it. I need to be a part of that. I don't want to run through the brick wall anymore, even though quarterbacks don't exactly. But still, all those things would tell me he's done. He's going out on top. He's done. But that's not what he said. What he said was, I still love this game, and I can play it at a very high level. My family, listen to the wording you said originally, has sacrificed for me. Now, in other words, now I have to sacrifice for them. I have to give up something I love and am great at. That doesn't work. Life doesn't work that way. You can't do it because someone else is making you sacrifice. You have to do it because you want to do. You're ready to give it up. He was obviously not ready.
So I was legitimately excited for Tom Brady because this is like Jordan coming back when we talk about football.
So Steve Young on SVP on Brady unretiring.
All great quarterbacks toward the end have to redouble their effort every year, both emotionally and physically, to stay on top. And it takes everything out of you. And so the typical cycle, trust me, is towards the end of the year is like, I'm done. And then by April, you're like, no, I'm good. Usually you don't announce it, though. You don't actually go public with it. But it's very typical. And the truth is, Tom planned, I think, for a long time, won the Super Bowl, let's play a year and retire. And so that was the plan. He did it. And then all of a sudden, you get out there, and it's like falling off a cliff. Scott, I mean, especially for Tom, you were the greatest of all time. Now you're not great at anything, let alone good at anything. And that's a shock to the system. And then you say to yourself, well, wait a second. Last year I led the league, and last year we were pretty good. And it eats away at you a little bit. And you can clearly see that 2 months, Tom's like, hey, not now, not yet.
But we all knew how he left the game. He left the game with a lot left in the tank. And you typically don't see players of that caliber, that type of elite mentality, where they're in a completely different stratosphere from any and everyone else in sport, leave a game at this high level. On terms of losing, walking off the field, and feeling like we still could have gotten it done. And then you watch him, how quickly he made the decision, that reading his statements about coming back and unfinished business. I get it, because his decision to retire came rapidly after they lost in the playoffs to the Rams. And so all those thoughts, all those things over the past 2 months, you're trying to find peace with it, and you're just not. It's in your face. You're with your kids. You enjoy your kids, but you're just still saying, I can't cheat you guys, but I can't cheat myself. And the worst feeling in the world would be when you know you haven't done something that you truly want to do. And this is not a game. This is not a sport that you can play forever. We all know that. Tom Brady is trying to prove it otherwise, but it's at the point now where I believe he's like, you know what? If I still got it in me, I gotta get some more out. I just got to get it all out. And when it's all out, I'll know and I'll be done.
Very few people who ever live will ever be good at as good at anything as you are at doing that thing. That must be tough to give up.
So, I mean, look, going through something somewhat similar, I was kind of forced to retire in a way. But when you're able to watch all the noise going on, right? Seeing the Aaron Rodgers stuff, what's happening with NFC, seeing just the overall landscape. There's something about it, Key, it's addictive, man. It's especially when you're used to training a certain way and your mind is built, and you know that there's still room for you to run through that gauntlet and win it again. There's a legit shot. Tom Brady and the Bucs can win it again. So it's not like a guy's like, oh, I'm at the bottom of the league. We don't have the right pieces. You know, that decision becomes easier. They have the pieces already.
And I would bet that of the guys that got texts, Ryan Jensen, a few at Gronk, I don't think Aaron Rodgers got a text from Brady before the announcement, hey, I am coming back.
Probably
so,
not.
Look, your point, I agree with you. I think that this is bad for Aaron Rodgers. And as you said, we'll see what the numbers end up being for Brady as far as what he plays for. But it is going to be a horrible look if his team, wherever he's at, can reload and add these players and Rodgers is struggling to get Devontae Adams signed. Oh, it's going to be a bad look for Rodgers.
Tom Brady's back, and so are the Bucs' Super Bowl chances. Those 45-1 odds when he so-called retired. Boy, they look pretty good now.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.